For those who sailed on her, it will be a day long remembered.
My name is Warren Jones. I traveled in 1961 eastbound and westbound a year later in 1962. We left New York on August 31st of 1961. I don't remember the exact date I returned because I don't have the passenger list for that leg of the trip. But I was traveling with my parents and with my bigger sister. We were going to Europe. My father had a sabbatical in Zurich, Switzerland that he was going to teach for a year. He's a mechanical engineering professor. So we were moving to Europe for a year. I should mention we also took our dog, and our dog had no kennel in tourist or cabin class, so the family traveled in tourist and the Cocker Spaniel traveled in first. One of my first memories was before the ship even left the dock there, Pier 86 in New York. My aunt was a New York resident. She was the wife of a Broadway producer. So she was used to going down to the piers and seeing famous celebrities and actors off, but she had never been on board the United States. So she came on board. She had the proverbial big basket of flowers and fruit with a ribbon across it, bon voyage. And she just fell in love with the ship. And in fact, she didn't want to leave. And they blasted the horn, made the announcement, all non-passengers need to disembark. She didn't hear it. She just kept chatting up the crew, talking to everybody she met, admiring the artwork. And finally, they made the second announcement, and she still ignored that. And my father went up and put his arm around her and said, "Aunt Ginger, unless you plan to go to Europe with us today, you need to step ashore." But I also remember my mother was an avid photographer, and she took a lot of color slides, Kodachrome slides of the travels, and she became obsessed, her own admission, with the funnels, the red, white, and blue funnels. And she didn't have a picture that didn't have the funnels in it. She told me one day, she said, "When I'm up on deck, how can I take a picture that doesn't have the funnels in it?" And I had to admit she was right about that. But in LeHavre, France, we were coming back, and it was sunset in the evening. We were up on the deck, and we had bought a small Renault station wagon, and we're bringing it back from our year in Europe. And my mother was taking pictures of us against the funnels. And we said, "Mom, you've got to turn around." And behind her, over the railing, was our car coming up. And she spun around and got a great photo. I've got it with me today of the sun going down and the car coming around over the railing and down into the hold. And we were just so lucky that we were there right at that instant, at that right spot to see that. And as soon as the car disappeared in the hold, she turned around and said, "Show's over, get up against the funnels." It's wonderful to be back. It really is. So many familiar things are coming back. We just walked through the kennel where the dog was. I didn't have to get permission to go into first class today, which was nice because I normally did, but it's great to be back. I was living in Tidewater, Virginia in 1984, so I was able to go on the ship when it was in for dry dock and in for the auction of the contents. And it was great. I invited my parents down, and they were so excited. We strolled the deck, and I got a picture of myself up on the bridge with the engine order telegraph, and my mother took the picture. And then she went out on the flying bridge and started to take pictures of the funnel. I remember that. So the Conservancy, the work of the Conservancy, I believe honors the ship, and it honors so much about the ship, so many other aspects of the ship, that when people see what other things they can learn about this ship, they can engage, they can feel a connection to the ship. This ship it's an American engineering marvel. It's an American design and art masterpiece. It's a cultural, touchstone. And it's really an example of American innovation. I think everybody should support the Conservancy in saving the ship and establishing proof that this is what this country has been able to create and what it can create in the future with future generations.